Well, that devastating and frankly historic oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico is today causing new problems along the Gulf South, more than 2 years after the disaster happened. According to the reporting of the U.S. Coast Guard, there's an oil sheen that turned up near the sunken Deepwater Horizon rig last month, and it matches the oil from the 2010 disaster. They tested it. It does not pose a risk to the Gulf shoreline. The Coast Guard reports that BP and Transocean, which own the rig, could be liable for this new oil. In the meantime, BP is apparently close to a multi-billion-dollar settlement in the Justice Department's federal lawsuit over that spill. That's according to the reporting of the Wall Street Journal, which again is owned by our parent company. Remember, the explosion killed 11 people, injured more than a dozen others, and unleashed some 200 million gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. Let's take this to the judge. Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano is back at our New York studios. A settlement, what's the situation here, Judge?
Well, there's two cases that the federal government has against BP. One is a threatened criminal case. They have not yet indicted the corporation, but they're basically holding an indictment in their hands saying we'll file this tomorrow. And the other is a lawsuit that the feds have filed under several federal statutes, which lets the federal government sue in behalf of property owners whose property has been damaged by the oil spill. The Wall Street Journal reports this morning that both cases will be settled, that BP will cough up billions in criminal fines as well as billions in compensation. Now, the numbers sound ridiculous because the Wall Street Journal, and just like anybody else, doesn't know exactly what the numbers are. They are somewhere between $6 billion and $21 billion. But the Wall Street Journal sources, and they appear to be reliable, have indicated that they are very close to some number between 6 and 21. And whatever it is, BP will pay it. Of course, they won't actually have to pay it, Shep, because you may remember they coughed up $20 billion within a month after the spill because the vice president literally put his arm on the then CEO of BP saying, how about $20 billion now? So the feds will just take this money and disperse it.
And that money would go to the states, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, all along Florida, all along the coast there?
Without getting too much in the weeds, there are two federal statutes. One lets the federal government give it to the states for all their damages to state property and, say, reduction in taxes paid by people who lost income so they didn't pay taxes to the state. The other statute only lets the federal government reimburse the states that have actually spent money to clean up the environment. Only one state in the Gulf Coast has spent enough money to demand reimbursement for cleaning up the environment. That's Louisiana. But the other states there, Texas, Alabama, the great state of Mississippi, also want some money from the feds. My guess is the feds will distribute that money to the states. The feds will collect a lot of money from BP, somewhere closer to the $20 billion end, and this case will be over.
Over and done with, and that's it. And then BP can move on, do more drilling, and make more billions, right?
Well, yes, and what you said at the outset here is very significant because the people who received money from BP agreed never to sue it again for anything having to do with this.
Wasn't that nice?
They didn't know that there might be another spill or another sheen coming from the original spill. They won't be able to sue for any damages from that.
Yeah, stand by for news. Judge Napolitano, great to see you. Thank you.